Let Aprajita Sarangi respond. Aprajita Sarangi.
A very good evening. It's extremely unfortunate that today 19 MPs of Rajya Sabha were suspended. And I can say with all conviction that this particular action was taken with a very heavy heart. Now I would like to draw your kind attention to the Committee on Ethics of Rajya Sabha, which had drafted a report and which was adopted by the Rajya Sabha in April 2005. In fact, this particular committee recommended and Rajya Sabha adopted. It said members should hold in high esteem the constitution, the law, parliamentary institutions and general public. I have gone through that committee's report which has been adopted and it lays down 14 principles. The first principle states that the members must not do anything that brings disrepute to the parliament and affect their credibility. I would request all the esteemed colleagues of mine, both in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, to kindly go through the recommendations of this committee which have been duly adopted. Now, the suspension for a week has taken place under Rule 256, which is also amply clear. I need not waste time on reading out what Rule 256 is all about. See, there has to be maintenance of decorum. We have to live within Lakshman Rekha when we are within the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, right? And there can be absolutely no compromise with the dignity of the House. There has to be a method. There has to be a procedure and we have to respect the parliamentary procedures. I think all the people of the country, about 140 crore Indians, are expecting a lot from all of us who have been sent with a lot of aspirations and lot of hopes to the Lok Sabha, and all those who are in the Rajya Sabha. I am sure they also carry with them many hopes and aspirations. So I think we need to behave with a sense of responsibility. See, who says we do not want discussion? See, I have a strong hunch, since I'm a member of the parliament and I keep sitting there day in and day out, the opposition does not want to hold discussion. See, they have to understand that there is a difference between Sadak and Sansad. On the Sadak, you can shout, you can create a ruckus, you can indulge in all kinds of hooliganism. But in the Sansad, you have to act as per a certain norm, and we have to conform to those standards of conduct. There can be absolutely no compromise with that. And as far as the discussions are concerned, I will take you to 17th July when the Sarvdaliya Baithak had been convened, and Sri Mallikarjun Kharge had given a list of about 13 issues which they wanted discussion on, and we had said all to the yes to that. And then, you know, there is a system, there is a business advisory committee, and there is a way of putting forth views. And we are all well aware of the fact that finance minister is unwell, she is recovering from COVID, and we are assuring that we would be having discussion. So I think this ruckus, this disturbance is being created to actually remain relevant in the system. They know that they are not relevant, and that is why they are creating this uproar. We want work. Do they want work? Just ask them whether they want work. And I tell you, I'll just give you an example. Give me 30 seconds, please. Day before yesterday, the Antarctica Bill 2022 was passed by the Lok Sabha. Now, what was the situation? When the discussions started, the ruling party members started giving their viewpoints, and suddenly the chair looked towards his left where the opposition people were there, and suddenly they staged a walkout. They said, we don't want to talk. Now, we want viewpoints. We want debate on the bill. We wanted the suggestions of the people, but they were not there. They just staged a walkout. Is this the way to behave? What does the government do? Government has to take the country forward. Now, I tell with all conviction at my command that Prime Minister Modi's government is not just here to run the government. It wants to take the nation forward, and it is a combined responsibility of both the opposition and the ruling party to run the parliament.
Now, Jaideep Mazumdar wanted to make an intervention, and then I'll come to Babul Supriyo. So he's been raising his hand for a bit. So yes, Jaideep Mazumdar.
Just one thing here. I think it's a bit rich for the Trinamool to talk about suspending MP and how wrong it is. I agree with him that burning issues of the day have to be raised in the House, in the Assembly or something. But I'll take him back to March this year, when there was this horrific incident in West Bengal where 8 people were burned to death in retaliation for the death of for the murder of a Trinamool Panchayat worker or a ground level leader. Now, when the BJP MLAs in the House protested against, wanted to raise this or discuss this and raised a point of order and this took to the well of the House, there was pandemonium. Trinamool MLAs got down to the well of the House and allegedly assaulted the BJP MLAs, and 7 of them were suspended not for just 1 week or the rest of the session, but for 1 year. It's a different matter that these suspensions were later on lifted only last month. But this happens in West Bengal. I think it's a bit rich on the part of the Trinamool to now come out and say that democracy is being subverted in Parliament.
So you're saying they don't practice what they preach in the Assembly and what they're asking that should be practiced in Parliament. So Babul Supriyo, one by one, Aprajita Sarangis and then Jaideep Mazumdar. Yeah. Respond.
Jaideep ji, I knew this issue is going to come and you're going to bring this up. But have you seen the footages or are you aware what actually happened inside the Vidhan Sabha on that day? Chairs were broken. There was what you said that the ruling party MLAs actually assaulted the opposition, the BJP MLAs. There are two. That's one side of the story. There's the other side of the story that exists, and therefore, the same thing is said by even the MLAs of TMC that the ladies, there are more ladies in the ruling party than there are in the. How many ladies do we have in the BJP side? So the ladies were assaulted, and the BJP MPs, they were very agitated, and they were too close to female MLAs inside the assembly. So let's not. Yes, they were suspended, but I think that magnanimity was shown. When the speaker said on an appeal that you can write a letter and we are going to take it back, and that's what exactly happened. Now, when it's answering to what BJP madam said, she's talking about relevance. I think that there is nothing more relevant in the country than the GST on rice, milk, curd, or there is nothing more relevant than price rise or inflation. So what is the big harm if you have majority in the Lok Sabha, in the Rajya Sabha? By doing this, I think you are somehow losing the credibility because the people who can vote against you in certain bills or would debate the validity of certain bills, you are expelling them when you can.
But in the day before Parliament. Parliament, what Aprajita Sarangi is saying, and because you've been there, Babul Supriyo, you'll be able to corroborate this, that there was a list of 13 issues that was presented by the opposition, and the government said we will discuss all issues in this session. They have not said we will not.
No.
But at that time, did the opposition actually insist कि कल ही करना पड़ेगा? कल नहीं करोगे तो हम हंगामा करेंगे, परसों नहीं करोगे तो हंगामा करेंगे. ऐसा तो नहीं बोला था.
But that is. See, I have been in the Parliament for 8 years. Yes. I'm sitting on the other side. I understand, but let's go by the data. In the last session of the Parliament, even in the budget session, there were 10 to 12 opposition parties that we have in the Parliament. Was any discussion allowed? No. How many bills were passed? How many bills? 27 bills were passed. What is the average? It's alarming. What is the number of minutes? Which is the average time that was taken to pass a bill? 9 minutes. So if the government is really wanting to discuss something and debate the good and bad sides of a bill, which has been the essence and what the Parliament is there for deliberation, for debate.
But she's saying this time around, what she's saying is day before yesterday when this bill was going to be discussed, the opposition walked out. They said we don't want to discuss the bill. तो ऐसे में सरकार बिल पास ही करेगी. ऑपोजिशन डिस्कस ही नहीं करने को तैयार है तो वॉकआउट करेगा तो क्या करेगी?
That is exactly what I'm saying. That if the opposition brings up relevant, she said it is not relevant, or that she's talking about relevance. With due respect to her, let me understand. Let me reiterate this fact. The country is really reeling from the price rise and everything else. So if the opposition wants to discuss that first, the government bring the bill anyways.
No, but
and this is the average that it takes 9 minutes for them to pass it.
No, ma'am.